Cable theft disrupts energy supply, affects railway operations, and also complicates water provisions to homes. In 2015, government introduced the Criminal Matters Amendment Act to prosecute crimes related to infrastructure. Government also introduced an export ban on ferrous metals and copper in 2022 to reduce demand from the export market. Despite such interventions, the demand for copper continues to grow on the black market.
We also saw when they did start to implement these strategies, the permits that were obtained from the International Trade and Administration Commission for scrap copper, the permits obtained for scrap copper went down, but we saw an increase for raw copper, which may indicate that it was actually scrap copper just being mislabeled as raw copper, which might indicate some forms of corruption that might be at play.
The demand from the black market continues to persist in our country due to the high resale value, and it's a limited regulation on the recycling of metals. The gaps in security and infrastructure and community vigilance allows criminals to operate freely, and strengthening law enforcement will definitely assist us to monitor the traceability of these materials.
Eskom says securing their cable network, especially at the cable theft hotspots, is an uphill battle. This has prompted the energy utility to now use aluminium cables instead of their highly sought-after copper counterpart.
We do then station our security guards and make sure that they patrol the area, just so that if there's any people that want to steal, they're close by and they're able to see that. But as we have been mentioning, I think over the past few years, is that we are also replacing copper with aluminium. So if at a certain point that there is a cable fault and we need to replace a cable, we won't necessarily replace it with copper. We use aluminium to then replace that part that had failed. But over and above that, we are also putting sensors, vibration sensors, so that if there's somebody who's busy with, and we are suspecting that it's something that they shouldn't be doing, we will then get a signal and we are able to dispatch.
The recent rise in electric vehicles meant heightened demand for copper, which is the best conductor of electricity. Experts say more collaborative efforts should be initiated with communities. Security should be beefed up, and police should be resourced to tackle this scourge.
Criminals often target copper due to its high sale and resale value, and aluminium might still be a target as it holds some market demand. To effectively deter cable theft, we need to be more involved as a community, as well as we need to strengthen the penalties that come with this, as well as increase security.
I think perhaps maybe taking a more technology-driven approach where we can implement smart tracking, perhaps a central database that basically records all transactions and tracks from the sourcing up into the sale and export of copper, that might allow law enforcement to be able to have access, to be able to trace the origins of that copper, and perhaps find a better way to actually see where the source is coming from.
Eskom says it will continue to improve on its security, especially as criminals are also advancing with the times. Offense Estimo, SABC News, Johannesburg.